So today we're going over chapter 3, section 2, which is system of inequalities. So you did system of equations for 3.1. Now we're going to do systems of inequalities. Solving a system of inequality means finding the ordered pairs that satisfy all of the inequalities in the system. So remember, when you have inequalities, you have multiple solutions. You have, for example, x is less than 2. So that means any number that's smaller than 2 would be a solution. When you have a system, that means you're going to have two different equations, and you're going to have more than one solution because you're going to start to shade. We did graphing inequalities in chapter 2. Now we're going to deal with the solutions. So how do you do this? You graph the inequalities and then you shade the correct areas. We'll go over how to shade it and how to graph them again. And then we have to identify the regions that is shaded for all of the inequalities. This will be the solution of the system. So the shared shaded area. All right, guys, so let's start graphing. Now I'm going to rearrange this equation with a fraction instead of a decimal because it's easier when it comes to point-intercept form. You can graph multiple ways. You can make a chart and like an XY chart and plug in points. You can use the slope-intercept form. To graph, you can also use the intercepts to graph. It works the exact same as if they were equations. Now, I'm going to use the slope-intercept form, and I'll go over multiple ways of doing this. So for slope-intercept, this first line I'm going to do in red. So I'm going to start at the -4. And then I'm going to go up 2 and 1 to the right, up 2 and 1 to the right, up 2 and 1 to the right. Now this is going to be a dotted line. This is a reminder, guys. One of the rules is if you have an inequality that's less than or greater than, that means it's a dotted line. Or as you guys know it, based on the number line, it would be an open circle. If you have a less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, that's going to be a solid line. And it would be a closed circle. Again, that's how it would be for the number line. So we have this red line that we just graphed. Now, which way do we shade? Well, it's telling us the y is greater. So we can look at where the y-intercept is and say, well, if the y-intercept becomes greater as we move up the graph, right? So we can shade everything that's to the left or up of this graph as a solution. Now I'm going to do the other one in blue. I'm going to start at +3. Then we have a slope of -0.5. So I'm going to go down 1 and 2 to the right. So I'm going to go down 1 and 2 to the right, down 1 and 2 to the right, down 1 and 2 to the right. And then this is going to be a solid line. Now, how do I know which way to shade? Well, this is telling me that y is less than or equal to, so we have to go from the y-intercept down, and we would shade below that line. So notice how the red and the blue intersect in this section right here. This is the section right here that they intersect. That will be the area where both of the solutions would be an answer. So the intersecting region, so in this case where the light purple is where the solutions to these inequalities are. So any point in here, even on the blue line, is going to be part of the solution, not on the dotted line, just a solid. But any point that you can draw on that purple line will be a solution to this region. Now this one again, you're going to solve by graphing. If you want to go ahead and start. I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to use a chart to solve this. So I'm going to grab this first equation. I'm going to do it again in red, this one in blue. So I'm going to do a makeshift XY chart. I'm going to choose, well, when x is 0, we're going to get y is less than or equal to -2 times 0 plus 5. So we get that y is equal to 5. We can plug in 1, for example, and we get that -2 times 1 plus 5. It's going to give us +3. I'm going to plug in a different number, let's say 2. So -2 times 2 plus 5. It's going to give us 1. So here we have a few order pairs. We have 0, 5. We have 1, 3. And we have 2, 1. Now with just 2 or 3 points, you should be able to get the graph. I'm going to do the same thing for the blue one. Again, you can solve it different ways. I just want to show you another one. Again, I'm going to choose 0, 1, and 2. Actually, no, I'm not going to choose 0, 1, and 2. I'm going to choose 0, 4, and 8. The reason I'm choosing those numbers is to get rid of that fraction. So we're going to do 1/4 times 0 minus 6. It's going to give us -6. So our first point is 0, -6. Our second point, we're going to plug in 4. So that's going to give us -7. So 4, -7. Then for this last one, I'm going to go ahead and plug in 8. So it's going to give us -8. So it's going to be 8, -8. Again, I'm just showing you different ways. For the third one, I'm going to do it with the intercepts. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the graph again. Just bear with me. Alright, so I'll go ahead and I have the graph. I'm going to plug the point 0, 5. I'm going to plug the point 1, 3. I'm going to plug the point 2, 1. And that's going to be, it's the red one right here. So solid line, just like that. And that is going to be shaded downwards. Now for the second one, we're going to start at 0, -6. Then we're going to have 4, -7. Then we're going to have 8, -8. So it's going to be a dotted line that's going to look like this. And it's going to tell us that it's greater than, so this section right here. So that in between section, which is the purple area, would be the area of the solution for this inequality. Alright, so for this one, again, they want us to solve the system of inequalities by graphing. I showed you guys in the other one how to do it with random points. I showed you the first one how to do it with slope-intercept. Now we're going to go ahead and graph by intercepts. So for the first one, which is the black one, I'm going to find the x-intercept. So it's going to be 0. I'm going to put an equal sign right now. So our x-intercept is equal to -5, so it's -5, 0. And our y-intercept is going to equal, y is equal to 5, so it's going to be 0 is equal to 5. Now for the blue one, I'm going to do the exact same thing, just find the intercepts. The 0 equals x minus 4, so x is equal to 4. So our intercept for the blue is 4, 0. And then our y-intercept is going to be, again, just plugging in stuff. Y is equal to -4. So you get 0, -4. Now when we graph this, I'm going to go ahead and plug the x-intercept for the red, so -5, 0. And then for the y, 5, 0. And it's a solid line, so you can just go ahead and draw a line in between them. And they're telling us that y is greater than, so we're going to go based on the y-intercept up, because that's when the y becomes greater as it increases. I'm going to go ahead and shade that region. And then for the other one, it's going to be the blue. Our points are 4, 0, and -4, 0. And that's going to be a dotted line. And it's telling us that this one is graphed as y is less than. So we go down from that point. We graph this way. Now, this is a special type of solution. Notice how we are shading the opposite ways. Nothing overlaps. So this is known as a no solution. Also as NS or as a circle with the line. Either one is fine. So we're going to solve this in slope-intercept. So I'm going to go ahead and just set up the graph. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and graph this one as the red and this one as the blue. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the 8, which is our y-intercept. And then I'm going to go ahead and do right over run of -4 and then 1 to the right. Now this is going to be a solid line, so I'm just going to go ahead and draw this line. Then for the other one, I'm going to start at 4. And again, go down 4. And 1 to the right, down 4. And 1 to the right. So the graph is going to look like this. These lines are not going to touch. They are parallel lines as they have the same slope. So shading the red, they're telling us that the red is greater than. So when y becomes bigger, we go from that y-intercept point. So it's going to shade everything to the right. And then we're going to look at the blue one, which is y is less than. So when y decreases, so we're going to shade this one as well. Again, guys, you could have done it any way and you should have gotten the same answer. This is a no solution. As the shaded regions don't overlap. Alright, you guys have homework on Canvas. It's already open. You guys, I recommend you starting it now in the last 5 minutes of class. That way you have a little bit less for homework. But this is it for today's notes. Guys, I'm also going to open the quiz review today afternoon at 2:20. It'll open. If you guys would like to get ahead and practice, you can. If not, you're going to have Monday to work on it.